was a freshman, my English teacher had us read an outside novel for an assignment. And after we did that, we were to write a structured book review on it. But instead of just writing like a random book review and just submitting it privately, he showed us like the real value of a book review by having us post it publicly on a website. And that was when I was introduced to Goodreads, which is a social media for reading books. And I found Goodreads like pretty cool. I used it in the classroom, but I also used it outside of the classroom. I added my own books. I loved getting book recommendations. I eventually connected with my friends. But then I also noticed how social media just in general draws us out of reality, and I noticed and only wished that there was a social media that actually gave us something back. Instead of taking away our self-esteem, our identity, I wish there was a social media that was selfless enough to just let us leave the app for a little bit. So studies show that social media is directly linked to depression and a lack of sleep. But that same study also shows that social media is more addictive than cigarettes and alcohol. So we can't really just put our phones down so easily. And that's also really hard because some of us do find happiness on social media. So what we need is like a happy medium where we can still use some social media, but we need to just kind of tone it down a little bit just to be healthier. And an example of that is that there's a study that noticed how some users on Instagram actually kind of slowed down. Like they didn't delete their Instagram account, they just kind of slowed down on it. And they actually started using Goodreads instead. Like they started reading books more. And today there are over 90 million users, so you can see it's like really gotten popular. And there's also over 90 million reviews. And a review is basically, you know, it's a book rating, but it's like not just 5 stars, it's actually like writing out how you feel. And that means that readers are really dedicated, because either one reader like gives a review for each book, or like a reader like reviews a lot, like they read a lot and they really want to let the world know how they feel about this book. So it's also like a great platform for authors to connect to their readers, because there's no other distractions like ads popping up on the social media or other content. It's just for books. And also when you look at the reviews, you can just see how like thoughtful some of them can be, or just like really, you can tell people really spend the time to write these things. You see like when people like italicize and quote things, they put GIFs, they really want to express how they feel, and I think it's kind of showing how our culture is starting to care a little more about things and not just be so flighty in certain things. So editor Buddy Scalera, he did a study, and he notices that the key difference between normal social media and Goodreads is that in order for social media to influence us, it needs to be noisy, and not just like the actual noise we hear, but like blue light and constant scrolling and updating and liking, and all that just distracting mental noise. So for Goodreads, it's based off of reading books. So basically, reading is a solitary activity. It's just one thing that you're doing. You're just focusing on one thing. So basically, the app kind of forces you to leave it for a little bit, because if you don't read, then you can't really update. And even people could argue that, well, there's book clubs, there's book discussions, so those things can take your time. Yes, they can, but if you don't read, you won't really understand. You won't participate in discussion because it's no fun. Also, when you sign up for Goodreads and you create an account, it requires that you add 20 books to get book recommendations, which, I mean, the scientific part of that is that it uses like 20 billion data points to recommend you a book based on your interests. So if you don't add 20 books, then it's not going to know what to recommend you. And I just think that's a good thing in general, to just be a motivator, just to start reading, even if you don't read, because even if you say, oh, I don't read because I don't know what I like, just pick up a random book, just read it. Maybe you'll discover it, maybe you won't. But sometimes you just gotta go out there and just get it. Another thing about Goodreads is that the information is credible. I mean, it features edited books. They go through editing, they go through professional publishing. So what I mean by that is you won't see like made up ideas or exaggeration or bias in summaries. you won't see like eating disorders or any promoting like weird things. It'll just be straightforward. The worst that can occur is that readers can just compare the number of books they read to other people, but at least you won't get like anorexia from that. So I'm pretty glad that I use Goodreads, and I realize that reading isn't for everybody. I just encourage people maybe to try it and maybe not, but I hope that whatever your guys' passion is, like whether it's basketball or sport, I hope there's a social media designed for it, like maybe right now or in the future, that doesn't drain you but inspires you to do well. So thank you.
Yeah.